Say, Jason, are we going to do a cold open for it?
For what?
For it.
For what?
For it.
Oh, for it. Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Donathan.
And we are Craving Cinematics.
Cinematics.
And today we went to go see the new movie, It, based off the book by Stephen King. And you see that Donathan is with us and not Kelly. So, Donathan, why is that?
Because Kelly can't stand horror movies.
No. I'm surprised we got her in for Annabelle, but It already had a reputation, so It was difficult for her to see. So it was an interesting situation, and I've run out of It things to say.
Yes, it was.
Okay. So, first thoughts going in. What were your concerns? What thoughts or preconceptions did you have before you saw the movie?
Well, my concerns actually were about it being a horror film and a Stephen King novel/film. And going in, I was concerned, okay, is this really going to be a good horror film for the horror fans? Yes, it is. It kept me on the edge of my seat all the way through the movie. Now, for Stephen King fans, the movie doesn't quite follow along with the book, but there's enough in there to really make you happy.
And I will say, going in, I have not read It. I've read a lot of Stephen King's books. It is not one of the books that I've read. So I'm just going to preface everything that I say with that. So please don't string me up for not knowing how the book is supposed to. I said don't. Anyway,
Right.
First of all, just from a moviegoer's perspective, this movie was fantastic. I think if you were to remove the serious horror elements, it could be a movie that stands on its own. It does not have to be a horror movie.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, it reminded me a lot of Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah.
With the coming of age story. So that really surprised me, especially it being a horror film.
And speaking of Stand By Me and the coming of age, the kids that they cast were fantastic. Each kid played their role well.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed with their character. They didn't deviate from their character too much. They were consistent. So when they cast these kids, I think they really went out and did a hard search for that.
Yes, I agree. As a matter of fact, one of the young men in the group, the Losers Club, stood out among all the others simply because of his language.
Yes.
And talk about comic relief. When it got really tense, this little kid would just start speaking and the tension just went away and everybody started laughing in the theater. And that's something else too. You've got to see this in the theater, especially with a large crowd, because you will have so much fun with it.
We actually clapped leaving. The audience actually clapped leaving this movie. It was, I can't say it, it's a good movie. It's really well done. It's a perfect theater movie.
I agree.
It takes you on a roller coaster. It's scary. It's funny. It's serious. It has some really intense parts.
Right.
It deals with some real issues. This is not a light movie.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There are some really intense issues. I personally got really hesitant when certain scenes came up because of that very thing. And it had nothing to do with Pennywise. It had to do with the situations the kids themselves were in. And that kept me at the edge of my seat as well.
And it did not have a movie feel to any of the sets. The sets or the homes and the locations felt lived in. They felt real.
Right.
And going back to the situations that each kid were dealing with personally, that helped build what they had to deal with Pennywise. And
exactly.
It was a really well-constructed movie. And it was set in '89. So it was a little nostalgic for me. The kids were a little older in the movie than I was at that time. So a lot of the culture that was referenced in the movie, it took me back.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, I believe that one of the little kids actually loved what was it, the Backstreet Boys or
New Kids on the Block,
I'm
and
not familiar with
KOTB.
that. There you go. There you go.
And I don't know why I was able to spill that right out. Not that that means anything about my music taste. So,
okay.
Anyway, so like I said, I'm sorry that I haven't read the book. I'm now actually going to go back and have to read the book because this movie was so good. What rating would you give this as quality level, not movie MPAA guidelines, not that kind of rating?
Right.
Yeah. Because it was an R.
Exactly. It is a hard R
Yeah.
movie. But quality-wise and entertaining-wise, I will give this a 9 out of 10. I mean, this movie kept me on the edge of my seat. I didn't jump as much as Jason did.
You know, you didn't have to say anything about that.
You were squeezing my arm pretty hard. But
again, you didn't have to say anything about that either.
But this movie is well worth the money, and if Kelly would go with me, I would probably go and see it again.
It is that good. I would go see it a second time. And I'm also not a horror fan, so me saying this is really, I don't know. For me, that's a big...
so what's your rating?
I would give it also a 9 out of 10.
There
This
you go.
was a really good movie.
Yes, it was.
So please go see this while it's in the theater.
Yep.
It's a treat. You'll really enjoy it. It's scary. It'll have its moments, but
Exactly.
yeah. So what should we have them comment on today?
Good question. What do you think about the book It, and what do you expect to see in the film if you haven't seen it yet? How about that?
I agree. That's a good one.
Okay.
Because a lot of people talk about the differences between Stephen King's movies and his books. So let's do that question.
Also, if you've liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yes, and tell people about it. They can subscribe. And more people can do it. Like Ripples on the movie reviewing stream. I'm Jason.
And I'm Donathan.
Have a good night.
Good night.